Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. It's at midnight right now. Chilling as always. Just got a game up and gonna chill for the most part. What was that? One of my friends. It's birthday today. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Hmm. Do 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 do. Do do do. Do, do. Well, this is Space Engineers. I like this game. I have a little rover here, making a little base. But yeah, I did a lot of reading. I'm kind of stressed out. Well, not stressed out, but just tired. I'm not really sure how to progress in this game. The first thing I need to do is hook this up to a connector. And I was thinking of, what's it called? Doing like a piston type deal. Anyways, so I don't really have much to talk about regarding like philosophy. And I guess I can just I'll just ramble a little bit. So regarding like that system idea that I was talking about, emergent behavior in like network of systems, there just seems to be little quirks and just like behaviors and phenomenons that seem to arise just out of the blue for no reasons, like patterns basically. And part of it is probably a cognitive bias, but it just, at some point, I wonder where you discern from believing something is a cognitive bias to actually having some kind of merit. I'm not sure where that point is, but it's interesting to think about because there's just so many unknowns about our world to why anything happens. I'm mostly just running around in this game. Don't really expect much gameplay, but yeah, I'm not sure though. If I were to try to explain like some examples. Examples are always good. Um, like one of the examples that I like to bring up is like life and just life coming out of nowhere. Life is a weird thing. Like I keep saying like. I need to stop saying like. um, but there just seems to be a lot of weird stuff in our universe that makes it. It is like a fantasy, you know. Um, I don't like it when people say, or well, maybe this might be a projection of me actually, but I always used to say that our universe is boring, life is boring. I wish I lived in a time where I could either explore the universe or live in a time where I could be so ignorant where I could believe in something like religion um, or believe in like a simple group think basically, or follow some cultural norm where I could easily just put my mind on autopilot. Um, I am fortunate enough to have all the information at my disposal, but now that comes with the burden of knowing, which is another philosophical concept to grapple with. Um, Information can be deadly. Well, not deadly, but just harmful if you're not ready to hear certain pieces of information. Um, some people really aren't ready for pieces of information. Uh, but I would say it's just like that theory I had for describing like systems and how networks are just come out of nowhere, emergentism. Um, and I've thought about like the idea of consciousness and not extensively, but it's like been a passing thought, and how something like it could arise. But it goes into a deeper philosophy about just life in general, just like how is life even a thing? That metaphysical question is hard to grasp with, because life, um, it sort of violates entropy in a way, but not really. Um, you can have like isolated systems um, that make life possible, of like high entropy, which okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense, but it doesn't make sense how just chaos can have order spontaneously. That really doesn't make sense. Um, Maybe it's just something humanity just hasn't discovered yet. Like, what's it called? Just some statistical occurrence. Like, eventually, if you just arrange atoms in a certain way for a given period, maybe at some point something just pops up out of existence in a pool of molecules, which is entirely possible. But it just seems like those answers aren't, I guess, meaningful enough. But, well, I mean, it's the best answer we got. It's not like I'm gonna go, like, full, oh, it must be a god or whatever. No, I won't ever do that. I'm past that point in my life. But the point is, the universe is weird. It's really weird. Um, and there's like, so we have the bar chart theory, which is kind of out there, but um, so it seems like I was listening to a political pundit, and he was talking about how you can see the signs of like something happening in politics, but it's just like a little bit keeps happening. It could be like radicalization for a certain group of people, and after people have gotten like radicalized enough, um, there's like a tipping point, like a little bit and a little bit, and then all at once. And you see this phenomenon happen a lot, and it got me thinking because I am like just looking into all these little quirks and like so I guess you could say little phenomena that appear in our society, and that's kind of like it's kind of matches to my theory a little bit, where, or not a theory but like way to visualize how things occur, where everything is just um, being done in a way of it's not, incentive is not the word, but um, it's almost like humanity is a big chemical reaction happening. Like in every action that would ever happen in the universe happens because of a certain set of parameters letting that action happen. Well, not letting it happen, but causing it had to happen. There's a tipping point in every action. So an apple. Say, visualize an apple on a tree. That apple will stay there until it eventually falls. But at what point will it fall? Okay, so we have a variable, a few variables to determine when it will fall. You have your gravity, you have your air resistance, maybe your the wind on a certain day, maybe the temperature outside, maybe how heavy the apple is, how much water it contains, how strong the stem is, but eventually all of these variables will turn into kind of a coefficient or a constant that describes a threshold, you could say. And that threshold for the apple describes when every apple will any apple on with any given stem and any given set of parameters and properties will fall from a tree. And that's how I kind of see the world. I see everyone, well, not everyone, but when I'm in my philosophy mode and I'm just kind of imagining things, it kind of seems like every action on this is metaphysical, obviously, but it's just being done by a certain set of parameters. Now, what are like the implications of this? Well, the implications are, what are like, if this is true, that everything can be described through like physics, you can every any action anybody does is an equation, and you can predict it all. What are we moving towards to? What is the chemical reaction that is happening in society? Because I'm not really into the idea of fate, but I do believe in causation. There's, I won't grasp with like unfalsifiable questions for causations, like where the universe come from then. Well, it's just the question I can't grasp with. It's nobody can grasp it with because it's just inconceivable. That's why the best we have is deities. But it feels like there's a direction humanity is going towards. And I like being idealistic at times and trying to figure out, okay, I have a certain set of values, and what do I want in my end society? What's my ideal society? In like the realistic sense, so like I think that's pragmatic sense, and like the idealistic sense. In my idealistic society, obviously everything would be free. I mean, you'd get whatever you wanted, but that's not realistic. Now, in the realistic sense, when we grapple with that, I obviously just want like equitable society and freedoms and whatever. I think that's reasonable in region for society. But just like it's like we're in a big experiment in like chemical reaction. It's not as I'm saying that we are, it's just a way to describe again, but like for instance, if enough people get sick, other incentives get activated to combat the sickness. People stopped going to public places. People started wearing, like, that's for COVID-19, for example. People started wearing masks. People started funding like vaccine research. We had lockdowns. That was like a tipping point. Like, that threshold, though, that tipping point was also determined by institutions that humanity put in place. We modified our own tipping point. It wasn't like we were dictated by our what's it called? Our evolution, basically. We weren't dictated by that, or just natural forces to go into lockdowns. No, we had institutions, a man-made thing, decide when that threshold should be, when as a society we ought to collectively mobilize against COVID-19. Which is an odd thing to grapple with, because we've basically become our own destiny at that point. We've modified our fate. If you ascribe that causation, and And if you just see, like, intervention from the natural order of things as not fate, which I'm not sure why you would, but it's mostly human exceptionalism that would make you believe it's different. But there is a sense of direction humanity seems to be going in, and just like the universe in general. Um, just recently, a paper came out talking about, and they still need way more research about this. It was like the first paper about this theory about dark energy in the universe. But they talked about how dark energy might actually not exist, and it could be just energy we didn't account for. And like our new calculations from supernova observations showed that um, it showed that the universe is not actually expanding how we thought it was. It's not accelerating. Which has the implications that the acceleration of the universe right now will eventually slow down with time. Meaning, either it means we're not like going to be instantly and foreverly stretched out, which that's what like the previous theory was for the ending of the universe, where the acceleration of the universe just gets so fast and fast and fast and fast, where all matter is just ripped apart, and no, you can't even have solid matter anymore, and atoms then are ripped apart. You have nothing. Just forever for the rest of eternity. Yeah, that didn't make any sense. Neither does the Big Bang, to be honest. You mean to tell me all the matter was in one spot and made a huge explosion? No. See, whenever you get fantastical, whenever you get like fantasy stuff like that, it just feels very inconceivable. Like right now, if you look at like the very established things, it doesn't seem, a lot of the things seem very intuitive, besides any area we don't know. But that could also be like a bias of me. It's way possible that, like, oh, obviously this has to be the case because I already know it. I mean, but it just doesn't really feel like there is crazy magic in our universe. There's definitely magic in our universe, though. If you just imagine how crazy it is that we are on a floating rock that is being invisibly attracted to a burning ball of hydrogen in the middle of emptiness through invisible forces, that is also being attracted to a big ball of blackness, which is a black hole in the center of a ginormous galaxy at unprecedented scale. And we have the ability to observe different material reactions, just like the idea of us being, us existing, seems quite magical in and itself, because I don't see a reason right now as to why anything should be the way it is. I don't know why universal constants are a thing. Um, but yeah. But that would mean that dark energy implication would mean entropy is actually, entropy is not increasing. I think that would mean, or no, entropy is not decreasing. So it was the case that if you believe that the universe is expanding at an accelerated rate, then the trend is the universe becoming more and more equal, and less and more, I guess you get less complex, so lower and lower entropy. Complex structures become more and more destroyed. That was basically the idea, but the implications of this now is maybe that isn't the case. I mean, and that would cause something like entropy to maybe be constant if you look at it at like a grander scale. But there is a limit to how organized something can get. I guess you could say that's the overall trend in society. We are getting more and more organized, and that's just true for the universe. It's like a universal trend, then you could say. If the universe isn't getting lower in entropy over time, then maybe it's getting higher in entropy through little pockets like Earth, where life becomes a little pocket of high entropy. And then at some point, life becomes intelligent enough to become really, really high entropy, where we are developing complex computer systems to make even more complex systems. It's like a runaway effect of entropy. Yeah, so it just makes you wonder, what is the limit? What really are the laws that govern our universe? What even is the universe? At some point, no matter, like, say we were like a simulation, or God really did create us, at some point, we would find him. Because assuming entropy isn't decreasing over time and it's relatively constant, we would have the ability to reach every aspect of the universe and anything beyond it as well. So if there were a god, we would know of it. Wherever we find a limitless thing, something that is unlimited, and we just can't. We've gone through all the math at that point. If you've gone through all the math and you're 110% certain, that that something, some randomness, something just is true because it's true. Like a rule. You found a rule of the universe. All your pieces on your board must go this way or that way, for sure. But you can't figure out a reason to why that is the case. And then that is just like the rules of the universe or something. I'm not sure what you could say there. At that point, the best answer might just be a divine entity. But, But yeah, the universe gets a lot weirder the more you look into it. Well, I guess you could say it's gotten less weird now that we think. It's still ambiguous whether it's real or not. That dark energy might not be real. And that would mean it's gotten a little simpler for us to understand. Because that was like, whoa, it's like free energy. What's causing this weird acceleration? So that was cool. But it just makes you wonder of what is everything going to become. That's like my ultimate interest. Because it's not like I really hope it's not something boring. I would totally love if there was a weirder and weirder idea of the universe. Because then we could actually say we are living in a magical realm. And we are to an extent, but you know what I mean. It's not the magical realm of Harry Potter, but if there was a divine entity, then it would be. But, well, I kind of grapple with this because every movie, story, and just like situation where you kind of work up a plot has become kind of meaningless or predictable. Everything at a very everything's very predictable nowadays. And you can kind of there's not really any mystery left besides like some of the things that I'm talking about now. But our world is a lot less weird than it was once was basically. Yeah, it's like that famous quote that I said a little bit ago. Like you're born too late to explore the unknowns, born too early to explore the universe. Feel like you don't have the ability anymore to reveal any of the unknowns of nature. But that technically isn't true. You could still explore, I guess, like the deep sea. But it's all have become predictable in a way. It's like, you know what you will find down there. You will find, likely, more fish. It's not like you're going to find something weird. Why would you find anything weird? But I support the exploration of more, just for that possibility you do find something weird. I think that movement towards discovery is very important. But when we also look into the cosmos, things are less predictable, and that makes sense. It's our final frontier as humanity. We're just starting to get into it. But we have general ideas of how solar systems form and all that. But on like our level, our size now of humans, if a tree gets hit by lightning, we don't think it's the gods anymore. If a pandemic comes to infect humans, we also don't think it's God anymore. It's just the mysteries and the big folklore of humanity is kind of gone. There is no divine in humanity anymore. No more ancient scrolls that will give you the cure to death. No more folklores that will no folklores about witches or ghosts or whatnot. The only ones that exist nowadays are fake and essential, just not real. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have to get some sleep. Good night, everyone.